Hey guys, how are you?
Good.
How
Been
you doing?
better.
Been better? Okay. So today is our second session. So I kind of want to summarize what we went over last time. So last time we kind of talked about how you're missing some school, and you have a truancy officer now.
Yes, I do.
And then you're involved in the juvenile court system. And then mom, we kind of talked a little bit about your depression, how that has been and how that kind of has affected her. You kind of sleep a lot and limited activities that you used to enjoy. We also talked about your relationship with her father and how that has been kind of rocky.
Right.
So today what I want to do is kind of dive into like what you want to get out of therapy today. Because last time we talked about the situation and the problem at hand. So I'll be asking you 3 questions and they're pretty lengthy. It kind of lets me get to know your situation a little bit better and what you kind of want to see for the future.
Okay.
So the first one is the miracle question. So the miracle question, it kind of helps me get to know your situation better. It helps me and you also see what you'd want for the future as well. So the question kind of goes, if you're asleep one night and a miracle happens, but you don't know a miracle happened, how would you know? So when you wake up in the morning, what would be different?
Okay, I'll go first. Well, my mom and dad wouldn't fight. My mom wouldn't be bringing random men in the house. She would do activities like playing makeup with me that she doesn't do anymore.
Okay. What
That's
about
how it would
school? How would school go?
School would be a lot better because I wouldn't be as stressed because of the environment at home.
Okay.
I think I would be more intrigued to go to school.
Okay. So the morning would kind of go different and then school would go different.
And then in
Okay.
the evenings, we could all be a family together,
Okay.
have dinner together.
And how would your day go different? Would it go any different?
If I would say my depression would be gone, and I would know because I wouldn't feel unmotivated and sad and have crying spells. My relationship with my husband would be better, and we wouldn't be doing this back and forth, like where he leaves and then comes back, and we'd be able to communicate better, and understand where each other's coming from instead of just storming off and leaving.
Okay. Both are very good answers. So a question for you, it's a scaling question. So it's kind of 1 to 10 on some of your symptoms. So on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the worst, 1 being the least, how is your depression right now?
Right now, I'm gonna say a 7.
A 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm still sleeping too much, and I'm having crying spells still, like little things like that shouldn't make someone sad or making me triggered and cry. And like I'm struggling to sleep at night, but then during the day I'm just wanting to sleep all day. I'm letting the housework go. I'm neglecting most of the daily things that need done around the house.
Okay. And how has that affected you as the daughter? Would you feel?
It's bad. It's just really affected me. It's
With
hard.
school?
Oh yeah, it's hard to see my mom like that.
And so my goal was to get you down to, you said what, it was 7? Down to a 6 and then a 5 and then finally get that down. So hopefully with the sessions it will go well, get it back down. Because I think last time you said it was an 8, so now it's a 7. So we're slowly getting there.
Right.
So my next question is the coping question. The coping question helps me see where you're at with the problem and see your progress too. So what have you tried in the past for the issue to cope?
Sleep, but that wasn't working. So maybe I could try exercising. I used to like to do that when I was in high school, so maybe that's something I could start doing again.
Okay.
Maybe lift some weights or take a walk.
Yeah. How many times like a day would you, not times a day, but a week would you say you'd try?
Maybe I could do 3 days a week.
Yeah, that's
That'd be a
pretty
good start.
average.
Yeah.
So what have you saw that she tried in the past to cope with the situation?
The sleeping, you know, trying to hibernate away from everybody, and it just hasn't worked.
Okay. So how many hours a night do you get of sleep?
At night,
Mm-hmm.
probably 4 to 5, but then I'll wake up early and fall back asleep for most of the afternoon.
Okay. I know you've missed a lot of school, so how have you tried to cope with that? I know your grades are pretty decent, so.
I guess, you know, I see my mom struggling, so, you know, I choose to stay home and, you know, help out the best I can and clean up when I can. But it's hard. I can't be a kid.
Mm-hmm. And you have some pretty good strengths. You like school, I can
Mhm.
tell that, but it's just hard for you to go. But you like it. You're getting C's, so that's
Absolutely, yep.
decent. But it's with mom with the depression and things at home.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to take some time to summarize what we kind of talked about. I know this was a pretty short session, but we will take probably about 5-minute break and then come back and talk about some solutions more
Mhm.
with the depression, you missing school, and how things are going at home. So we kind of talked a little bit more about the issue. So we talked about the miracle question. You know, you kind of would say school would be different, your day would go different, your depression would be down. Also talked about your depression more with the scaling question. You said it was a 7, and our goal was to get it down to a 6. And then we kind of talked about how we coped in the past too. And so we're going to try some new things as well. One last question though. So was there ever a time where you didn't have your depression, or when it was like less severe?
I don't really remember a time I didn't have it.
Okay, so it's always been kind of there?
I feel like yes.
Okay. And has that always affected your schooling?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we're about out of time. So I will let you guys get a 5-minute break and we'll come back and get started again.
All right.